Hello friends, thank you for joining me today for episode 137. I'm Kathy Rhodes, and today we're going to think differently about food. This morning when I woke up, I felt very dizzy. I got out of bed and felt dizzy, but then I laid back down again, and as long as my eyes were closed, I was fine. But even laying down, when I opened my eyes, I just felt like the room was spinning. Now, the rest of my body felt very strong. My head, my stomach, all of that felt fine. It was just this kind of dizzy sensation. Well, this has happened to me in the past. Sometimes it's even gotten to the point that I've seen black spots in my peripheral vision. It's a nutrient thing. I know what it is. It's a nutrient thing. And I was depleted in some nutrients. And sure enough, I drank 20 ounces of water, which makes sense that I'm depleted in the hydration because I just slept for 8 hours and obviously wasn't drinking anything, right? So I drank 20 ounces of water. I had a banana, I had some blueberries, and it started feeling better. I was able to go on a walk, but really I did not return to my normal feeling self until I had a protein shake. People, nutrients are so important to our bodies. It is so critically important that we put the best stuff in our bodies. Even if it's just the basics, like water, a little protein, some potassium, some brain berries. That's what I call my blueberries. But we have to be so mindful. When I am not healthy, for example, this past weekend, I enjoyed some really good desserts and some ice cream. When I'm not healthy, my body gets used to that junk, but it doesn't feel as good as it feels when I am healthy. So what nutrients do we need in our body? What are the things that we need? Well, I personally am, and I'm obsessed, I guess might be the best word to say here. I'm obsessed with food books. So I'm reading a book by Dr. Mark Hyman called Food, What the Heck Should I Eat? And then I just finished a book by Shawn Stevenson called Eat Smarter. Dr. Hyman has great books. I have read the Daniel's Plan, all of these types of books that educate me on what I'm putting into my body, that give me truly facts that you don't read on the side of a box. You don't really hear much of. I love this because how we treat our bodies and what we put into our bodies matters. So, what are the nutrients that we need? Well, we need protein. And what I've been learning about protein, what's so interesting is as we age, we need more protein in our bodies. So you take your weight and you multiply it by 40%, and that gives you a really good idea of how many grams of protein you need every single day. So as we age, as we gain weight, there's obviously more to this formula because maybe you're the same weight you were in high school, but you're a different age. You know what? Go with around the 50 to 60 gram per day guideline. That's a lot of protein. 50 to 60 grams, maybe even more than that per day. Well, one egg is 6 grams of protein. We either need to have a lot of eggs or we need to figure out what else has protein. Well, I mentioned earlier that I had a protein shake this morning, and the protein shakes that I choose have about 12 grams of protein. The other day I had a venison burger that had like 19 grams of protein. I had a serving of meatballs that was like 30 grams of protein. And what's great is when you, like for example, the meatballs, I purchased a big package of meatballs, and it said 12 meatballs is one serving, and that's 30 grams. So they're making it easy for us, right? This past weekend I made a turkey. Well, one serving of turkey. So we're just talking about one serving, not a huge sandwich or 5 sandwiches or just a serving of turkey is 24 grams of protein. All of this is where we can really get our protein. Now, what if you don't eat meat? Well, then you're going to have to get creative, right? There's peanut butter, there's lots of eggs, there's protein shakes, there's other ways to get your protein. But you got to find what you like. And you have to figure out this routine of how can I get 60 grams of protein in every day. And it does matter. I know for me, I really do feel a difference. When I was in Papua New Guinea a few months ago, they eat a lot of pork and a lot of potatoes and such. I'm not really a pork lover, mainly because the salt content just affects me differently. And I'm not really a potato lover either. So I wasn't eating my normal routine of nutrients. And I found by about day 3 that there were different things happening in my body. My ankles were swollen. That never happens to me. That was different. And then my energy was different. Well, thankfully I packed some protein shakes and I started drinking them twice a day at that point, and I could immediately feel such a change in my strength and my energy, and even biologically within different parts of my body. The swelling didn't totally go away, but I just felt like it got better. Protein matters. Protein matters. I gotta admit, naturally, I'm not one who loves to find protein in my day. And yesterday, I didn't have much protein. I had no eggs, and usually I have 2 every morning. I did have a protein shake for dinner, and now that I think about it, I did have one for breakfast in my smoothie as well. So I did get some protein that way, but that was it. It just wasn't enough for me. And it affected me this morning. Okay, so what else? What other nutrients should we have? Should we indulge on a daily basis? Well, you might have heard the need to have fish in our diet. Not deep fried, okay, but baked, just really well prepared fish. And sometimes when we try to get our fish intake, we find it in a can. Here's what I just learned. One of the books I'm reading, I think it was the food book by Dr. Mark Hyman, he mentioned canned fish, like canned tuna. He actually said it's better to eat canned Alaskan salmon, sardines, anchovies, or herring, which I'd probably do the salmon, but I don't know about the other 3. But it's better to eat those instead of tuna because tuna has a high mercury level. The tuna, the size of the tuna is just attractive to mercury, and we don't need that in our body. But whatever you choose, I guess, in the canned fish category, what you want to do is get the fish in olive oil, not the fish soaked in water. I have always bought tuna in water because I think water's better for us. I don't need oil, right? But the oil preserves the nutrients of the fish. The water just dilutes it. So, okay, there's a little extra tidbit, little extra trick as you're consuming the fish of the day. Other things, vegetables. We need to get our vegetables. Vegetables are probably the best food of all sorts, whether it's carrots or celery or broccoli or radishes or peppers, or the whole idea of getting vegetables is so important to our bodies. Here's a little trick that I found. I like to make my own salsa, and it's vegetables. It's tomatoes, green peppers, onions, hot peppers. I guess a little bit of tomato paste. That's it. That's it. Talk about a healthy vegetable treat. But now, instead of using your salsa with chips, use it as a healthy veggie dip. I love spicy food, a little extra spice. Well, dip your carrots in your salsa. Oh, yum, yum, yum. And then get guacamole going. You've got the avocados. Oh, there's some good food there. So vegetables are important. There are other brain foods that are so critically important. Water is the #1 brain food. And that's something I was experiencing this morning. I drank 20 ounces of water within about 5 minutes. And to be honest, I do that every morning. I crave my water. I'm not a coffee drinker. I get my water into me right away because I know I'm dehydrated. But it's not just about filtered water that's important for us. It's also about getting electrolytes. Many times you hear about the sports athletes who need Powerade or Gatorade. It's because there's electrolytes in there that's replenishing some nutrients within us. And these nutrients aren't in just water. So what are the nutrients? We do need sodium, we need potassium, we need magnesium. And there are certain electrolyte packets that will give all of that when you mix it with your water. So be mindful, because sometimes you might be depleted in one of those electrolytes and water just is not rehydrating you. Have you ever drank a lot of water throughout the day, but your tongue and your mouth still felt so dry? So that means you're probably depleted in an electrolyte. Now, here's another personal story. I am notorious for getting car sick whenever I'm traveling somewhere. I'm better if I'm driving, but if my dad's driving, yeah, no, that doesn't work very well. I'm still, whatever age I am, 40 some years old, and I'll still get car sick when he's driving. My husband, not as bad, so there's a difference in their driving techniques. But something I learned a long time ago is when I do start to feel car sick, to go get some French fries. Some really salty, unhealthy French fries. Culver's and McDonald's have the best salty, unhealthy French fries. Well, it's the sodium. It's the sodium that my body needs, because that's really, the salt is really what helps, I guess, miraculously get me out of the car sickness. But it's those electrolytes that we have to be mindful of. Well, something else for our brain, we also need to be mindful of the fat that we're eating throughout our day. Good fat is so critically important. Our brain is made up of fat. There's a percentage of it that's water, there's a percentage that's fat, and we're talking about whole fats, not light or skim or fat-free. We need good fats. For example, extra virgin olive oil is a very good fat for our brain. We have to be mindful of what kind of fat we're choosing. I'm not talking about sugar and fat that we don't like. This is the good fat that we need to feed our brain. We also need other good brain foods. Spinach, garlic, broccoli. These types of vegetables are so important for our brain. Blackberries and blueberries. These are brain berries. And then there's certain drinks that we can consume throughout our day that are beneficial. Coffee is one of them, as well as green tea. Pure, healthy, organic green tea is so important for our brain. And there's a lot of science behind why and what it's doing, and you can find those in those books that I mentioned earlier. But for right now, I guess for me, when I was reading these books, it's a bit overwhelming. It's a bit overwhelming because there's a lot of science behind a lot of this and a lot of words that I can't understand and remember and pronounce. But really, I wanted a list of what do I like that I need to be mindful of consuming more of. And on the list is chocolate. For all those chocolate lovers, it's chocolate, but it's not milk chocolate. It's dark chocolate. 1 square of organic dark chocolate or 1 tablespoon of cacao nibs is beneficial for our brains. There's a bit of caffeine in it that does help. Caffeine, by the way, when you have a headache, caffeine helps within your blood vessels, kind of make the blood flow easier. The caffeine is what kind of connects all of that. So, the caffeine in chocolate and in coffee, it is important for our brain. But like anything, you don't want too much of that either, right? Well, those are nutrients that our body needs. Those are some ideas of foods that's going to help keep us strong and keep our brain very alert and avoid any memory fog or brain fog. Well, there's also foods that we don't need. Number 1, we don't need sugar. We don't need more sugar in our daily diet. The recommended dietary guidelines says that we should have about 30 grams of added sugar per day. So listen to this. I'm going to grab the book Eat Smarter by Shawn Stevenson, and I have this page bookmarked because it's talking about how we only need about 30 grams added sugar per day. Listen to this. Back in 1999, so we're talking about 24 years ago, average human sugar consumption was 100 grams of sugar per day. Holy cow, that's a lot of sugar. Okay, some estimates show that the average American is still eating over 90 grams of added sugar per day. This equates to about 77 pounds of added sugar a year. Okay, Well, where is the added sugar in our diet? Where is the added sugar in our foods? I'm not talking about sugars that come from fruits. Okay, I'm not talking about the natural sugar within an apple. However, the saying does go, an apple a day will keep the doctor away. Not 5 apples, but one. 1 apple a day will keep the doctor away. So we don't need a lot of extra apples, and that natural sugar is very important to us. We're talking about all the extra sugars that are in any kind of processed foods. Anything that we buy off the shelf is all added sugars, and it says it on the box. There's literally a line that says added sugars, so many grams. So the next challenge that I'm giving myself is I want to just track how much added sugars I have a day. Now I love things sweet. I made some Amish cinnamon bread over the weekend, and there were a few pieces left, so I've been enjoying them in the mornings. There's a lot of sugar in that, a lot of sugar. I like any minty chocolate, whether it's York or Andes mint. I love mint chocolate. Well, that's milk chocolate. There's a lot of extra sugar. So, there's another little challenge. Just how much added sugar am I really getting in a day, and how can I reduce it? That dark chocolate is a better fix, and your taste buds will get used to that bitterness, I guess, within dark chocolate rather than the milk chocolate. Okay, what else? What else do we need to omit from our diet? Well, alcohol. There's nothing good in alcohol. I'm sorry. I really am not one to drink alcohol. I don't really care about it, so this one's easy for me. But I just can't find anything good about it. And I know, the saying goes, red wine is good for you. Well, according to one of these books, I think it might be Shawn Stevenson's book, he says, yeah, it's good for you only if you drink 2 bottles of it. And by the time you've consumed 2 bottles of red wine, well, yeah, well, that's not good for you either, and you're pretty well done for the day. So avoiding alcohol saves every organ in your body. You see, alcohol also, when you drink alcohol, your body cannot store the calories of alcohol like it can store sugar. So it uses the alcohol energy first. That means all the other fat that's in your body's not using it. Normally, when you're not eating, your body is using some stored fat to continue to give you energy. When you're drinking alcohol, it's not using that stored fat, so it continues to store and multiply, and it's using the alcohol energy instead. It's just not good for us. I'm sorry, not sorry. Okay, so when it comes down to the things that we need to add to our body and the things that we need to put into our body, the things that we need to avoid putting into our body, for me, what I've had to do is I've had to start to look at foods for what they really are. I've had to redefine what I saw on a grocery store shelf or what I see in a bottle. For example, soda or pop, whatever you call it, or those slushy drinks, there's nothing good for you in those. There's actually no real food in those drinks. It's all chemicals. So when you go look at a shelf full of soda, or you look at a refrigerator full of soda, or you look at those condiment bars at restaurants that have soda after soda to choose from, think of it as chemicals. Why are you drinking chemicals? Would you open the gas tank of your vehicle and pour in Drano? Well, no, because it's going to ruin your entire vehicle. That's not the right fuel for your vehicle. Soda is not the right fuel for you either. Oh, but I need the caffeine. Well, then go eat a piece of dark chocolate. Go have a cup of coffee. Find your caffeine elsewhere. By the way, we really don't need as much as we think we do when it comes to caffeine. But when you see soda or pop, redefine it. See it for what it really is. It's chemical. Alcohol, same kind of thing. It's a brain killer. It's fat. That's what, it's energy, but it's used in a way that's storing your other fat even longer. This means that your body's not using the fat from your earlier eatings. See that as chemicals as well. See sugar as a fat blob. It's still edible, but it's not valuable to your body. It's just this fat blob. I mean, have you ever seen fat? Blech. That's sugar. When I have sugar, sugar that I love, right? When I have sugar, I get headaches, I'm sluggish, and my heart starts racing. The other day, John and I were walking through the grocery store and I saw the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Easter peanut butter eggs. Yum! It's got peanut butter, right? Oh, love those. But as soon as I saw them in their package, my heart started racing, just like as if I was eating them. I don't like that feeling at all. And then also after my heart starts racing, I'll get a sugar headache. I don't like that feeling either. I do love that when I see certain things in a package, my body starts reacting to keep me away from it. And then there's things like avocados. Whenever I think of an avocado, I think of bright green. Think of other healthy vegetables and fruits with bright colors. That is fuel for your body. When you see those bright colored vegetables and fruits, think of that as energy. Energy that your body knows how to use and how to burn appropriately. I've said in other episodes and other videos that I've often had a challenge in breathing, especially when I was younger and growing up. I couldn't really take a full deep breath. And I found out that it's been because of sugar. And there is such a thing as sugar-induced asthma. And when I have been able to purge myself off of the sugar, to reduce the sugar intake, when I do have something sweet, it's something like a dark chocolate or honey, it's just healthier for me. The best part of that purge is my ability to take a deep, full breath. Oh, that feels wonderful. When my heart's racing or when I have headaches, I can't take those breaths. Take a breath right now. Doesn't that feel good to get that air into your lungs, to like fully expand your lungs? Oh, we need to stock up on our good food fuel. Friends, please seek a different way. Seek a different way to look at what you eat. Some foods we need to really see for what they really are. So this next week, choose only food and drinks that are going to keep you strong so that you really are at your best today. Try it out. Try it out in little ways. Don't try to change your whole menu and your whole eating habits in one shot. Just try one thing. Maybe no soda this week, no alcohol this week, and start to pay attention and notice what's happening in your body. I never realized this breathing thing until I really purged off of sugar and ate healthy for about 2 months. Like, I was really obsessed with that healthy eating. That's when I realized there's something going on bigger than the health of vegetables. So take this challenge and pick one little change in your menu this next week and see what it does for you. I hope that this topic today has challenged your thinking and your habits, because I promise it's definitely going to make you more efficient and fully empowered in your life. Be great today, my friends. I'll see you next time.